What am I doing here? Oh, of course, on my screen's timeout. Okay, time being 7 p.m., I'd like to call this meeting to order. Administration advises that there is no new amendments to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the agenda as circulated? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Seeing none. Tonight we have Joanna and Patrick from Ontario Clean Water Agency presenting to council. Joanna and Patrick, you may go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Your Worship, Council and Administration. It is a pleasure to be with you this evening. Thank you for having us. So it's been just over 4 months that we've partnered together with the water and wastewater operations. I'm happy to, my colleague Pat Albert and I are happy to bring to you an update on how things are going. We'll have Pat, I'll go through the first quarter report that was submitted through administration to you. And we'll, at the end, I'll kind of come back and talk about a new funding program that's out for water infrastructure, which is exciting news. And then we'll have a few minutes or some time for questions if you have any for us. So thank you. And Patrick, over to you.
Thanks, Joanna. Yeah, so before I get into the Q2 report, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the transition that happened in March. Everything went super well. We were able to get our Wonderware system installed to be able to collect the data instead of having everything put into spreadsheets and in long form. We're able to now collect the data as of probably close to mid-March, somewhere around there, able to collect the data electronically and complete these nice reports. Everything went super smooth. Partnering up with the township has been great. Blair's been leading the charge there, and he's been a great help to us all. So everything was very smooth. We were able to get into some of the compliance items that were found in the inspection prior to us coming in, and also getting into the municipal drinking water license renewal applications, which are still kind of underway, but things are going good on that front as well. So for the Q2, and again, you can stop me anytime if there's any questions. Feel free to jump in. And if you feel like the report, you'd like to see maybe some different information in there, or maybe have some taken out, please feel free to let us know, and we'll make the adjustments to the report as you see fit, and for just to make sure that we're capturing the information that council was looking for. So we start off by listing the contacts, Jeff being the regional manager, Joanna, business development manager, and then myself, senior ops manager, and then the operators, Dave, Houston, and Clark, and Pierre. Dave is going to be the main contact for the water and wastewater operations on the operations side. and then myself. You can feel free to contact me anytime. I'm always happy to answer my phone, and if there's any concerns or questions or anything, or if you just want to chat, please feel free to give me a call anytime. And I'm sure it's the same for Joanna or Jeff. So you'll notice that the classification right now, I have it as a class 2 for the water treatment and a class 2 for the wastewater treatment, just because we're still running on the old wastewater facility. Once we convert to the new facility, I'm going to make the change there as a class 3. It seems like that's kind of the direction that we're heading there. So I've got a quick little blurb on the water treatment plant, especially for the flows, because they are regulated and we have to ensure that we stay within our limits. So between the months of April and June, we were well within our limits. The plant ran pretty smooth, and we're definitely under our permit to take water as well as our distribution flows. And the same thing for the wastewater treatment plant flows. We're well below our limits. The wastewater facility currently is about 3,800 cubic meters per day of capacity, where you can actually provide treated water going through. So again, as you can see, we've been well below, and most plants are well below, usually about 50% of the max, to leave room for expansion. A little bit of a compliance summary on here, just to let council know that all the regulatory sampling, all the rounds, residuals, and all that have been taken care of with no issues. The occupational health and safety, typically if we see any kind of concerns with health and safety, we'll typically jump on it right away before we even come to council with it. We take the health and safety pretty seriously. So unless it's a big, huge cost, we'll typically jump on that right away. And I'll have a summary here quarterly for council to review. And I like to put a section in with through inspectors and regulators if we've had any kind of interaction with regulatory authority. So in Q2 we worked with the MECP throughout the quarter on some of the non-compliance issues that came across in the last inspection. And also we dealt with the MECP approvals branch for the municipal drinking water license renewal. Customer complaints. So and typically the way that operations work with complaints is that they'll go through the township, and then the township will come to us and let us know if there's anything, let us know the complaint, or if there's anything that can be done on our end to rectify the situation. Typically, you may get a little bit of discolored water complaints at times, sometimes the taste of chlorine or things like that. Everything's been actually pretty great throughout the first quarter. I like to have a section of alarms and callouts that have happened throughout the month, throughout the quarter, sorry. So as you can see, I would imagine that this is probably typically going to be our base for the quarter, maybe our average of about 2 call outs a month, which is very, very minimal compared to other facilities. I think we've got 7 here, 2, 4, 7 in the course of 3 months. So I would say that that's a pretty low number, and that's probably about the average that we're going to see moving forward.
Patrick, I noticed that there's an issue about clarifier valve not opening, and I presume that's in the water supply side?
Yes, sir. That's on the water side.
What does that suggest? Is that suggesting that the plant might be getting close to the end of its functional life and perhaps needing to be replaced?
I think the valve issues at times could be, it could be all depending on the moisture in the air, because some of these valves are air actuated. And sometimes they just get dirty. So a little bit of maintenance throughout on all the valves, some valve exercising programs and things like that, I think will help it along. I haven't really dug too much into where we're at with the clarifier, if we're close to end of life. I wouldn't say that we're close to end of life. There's always maintenance that can be done and things that can be done. I know for sure there is a couple of things that we do have to do to the clarifier maintenance wise, and a couple of repairs. But I think that will be in good shape once those are done. Actually, we can skip down to the capital and project work section because it speaks to it. So typically every November, Aqua will provide the township with recommendations on capital. And that's where you'll see these recommendations come forth on, clarifier maintenance, pump maintenance, chlorinator maintenance, chemical pump maintenance, analyzer maintenance, all these type of items will show up as recommendations. Now, since we've just come in March, we're still kind of overseeing and looking through the system to make sure that we can build a good 10-year plan. I like to build 6 years is what is recommended. I like to do 10 so that council can get a further outlook of, okay, what do we need to prepare for now so that we can take care of it in 5 years, 10 years down the road. So we're going to do, and we're going to continue on an extensive, we're going to look at every asset. We're going to tag every asset. We're going to enter it into our management system to give us a good idea as to how long we have and how much money we're going to be needing to put into these assets moving forward. And if we can, usually you get to a point where, okay, it's not time to continue to do maintenance to it. It's time to replace because it's more cost effective. So typically I like to capture all those items on the spreadsheet and then kind of come up with a plan to where we can do annually spend X amount of dollars, whatever council is usually comfortable with. And then we build the plan around that. And we do it together as a team and work through all those items. And typically that'll come out in November. And then that way there gives plenty of time for council to review, the township to review and approve it.
Patrick, you mentioned that the transition has been going smoothly between the township people and yourself. When do you foresee that you'll be flying solo?
Well, I think we're there. I think we've been there for a while. I don't think that we can say that it will ever be a solo arrangement. The township may come and require, Public Works or whatever may require some help from our end, and we may require some help. Typically, we like to work as a team together. So if Blair with Public Works is a little bit short and he needs a hand with something, we're always more than happy to come and help out for anything. But I to run the facilities on our own, I think we're there. I think we've been there for a little while. Dave is a pretty experienced operator. He's a level 3 in water and wastewater, and he's doing a fantastic job. So as far as to, I think by early April, we were kind of already flying solo. But again, Blair and I have had many conversations, and like I said, I think it's always going to be a partnership in our eyes, to where if there's any help that's needed or anything that's needed from our end, or help or extra support with our guys, we're more than happy to help the township out. And then the last section, I have operator license and certificate levels, just so that council sees the level of experience that is operating the facilities. So as you can see, Dave is quite experienced. He's been in water, wastewater for a long time, in many different systems. And Clark and Pierre are coming up. Mainly, it will be Dave and Clark that will be working in Red Rock. Clark has, and I'm sure a lot of you know Clark. He's got a pretty good mechanic background and maintenance background, as does Pierre. So that'll come in handy when, instead of bringing in so many contractors all the time, we've got our in-house guys that can really take care of some of this maintenance stuff to try to lower the cost to the township.
I can just add to that, Pat, if that's okay, if I
Yeah,
jump in.
absolutely.
It also adds a sense of redundancy. So with 3 people trained in operations in Red Rock, if there's vacation or somebody is called away or wins the lottery and moves away, there's backup, and we're not in a position where there's only one person left that kind of knows the system and can operate.
Yeah, then that's a great point, Joanna. And these will be your 3 main focuses, but we also have the entire North Shore at our disposal, as well as the Greenstone area, where we do have electricians and millwrights, and we have these type of people that are operators with us, and they're always available if we need to pull from those areas as well. I think that's it for me. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to go through them.
Thank you, Patrick and Joanna, for the report. And council, any questions? No? Okay, great, thank you. And we look forward to the November report as well, but we'll see you in the next quarter.
Yes.
Yes.
I can just add a couple of things. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you probably have a long night. I just wanted to add a little context around so Patrick was talking about the flow information and giving you guys some numbers, and you may be wondering why he's, they're analytical numbers or flow numbers, and why he's talking about that. That's something that you will see every quarter on our reports, as well as in the annual report and any presentations that we do. As the system owner and council, your responsibilities under the Safe Drinking Water Act are to ensure that we're complying with the permits and licenses. So that's what we're letting you know by giving you those numbers. You can feel rest assured that you are in compliance with your permits and your licenses. And I wanted to just quickly talk about a new funding program that is out there. You may have seen it already. It was announced on July 13th. But it's a new water infrastructure funding program. It's jointly funded by the feds and the province, as well as there's a municipal contribution. Projects can be submitted upwards of up to $5 million. And we have a whole team of people that are available and willing to work with you, put forth recommendations. You may have projects that you previously submitted to the last round of funding, which I believe I worked with somebody within your township Hi, to submit an application. So we're here to support you if you wanted to do something similar this time, or if you wanted to look at new projects. It isn't on wastewater, it's just water infrastructure. And there is, I'm in a webinar on Thursday, so I'll hear a lot more info about it, and we'll share anything that I do find through administration to you. So it's exciting news.
Can you expand a bit on what kind of projects or typical projects we might be able to apply? That was why I was asking about the valves, and is this why the water plant may be getting out of life? Is this something we would be applying for that kind of money for to ensure we're right up to speed with the best of equipment?
It can be. So typically what you do throughout the year is we'll do assessments, or there'll be a critical infrastructure sort of, we'll become aware of it, or there may be projects that you've been thinking about for a long time. So part of what Pat and his group does is they provide major maintenance recommendations every year. And that might include something that we see long-term as becoming end of life or end of life cycle, or something that's going to become an issue in future years. So we'll start the process there of recommending a study or an assessment of some kind been done. Typically with funding programs, you need to submit evidence. So something that backs up your need for the project. That can be, an engineering study. It can be analytical results, so lab results if you're having an issue with process. It can be a road study. If you're looking at doing roads and your linear infrastructure, the pipes in the ground are older, and you've had any kind of condition survey done on them, you might want to consider applying to have the pipes in the ground done at the same time as you're going to do roads, so you're not redigging up pavement later on. It kind of all flows together. This fund is just water infrastructure. So it goes through the province first. Of course, with any funding, the more critical your request is, then it typically there will be more consideration given to it. But it really, the only information I have right now is that it could be water infrastructure, and that includes distribution. So the pipes in the ground as well.
Just to add to Joanna's point, when you're looking at an end of life on a particular item, whether it be a clarifier, a pump, a blower, a generator, anything like that, and especially if you're going through the funding avenues, the most critical part is, like Joanna said, is that assessment or that engineer report that states that, yes, that is end of life. And now you have this report ready to go. And the reason why we try to go 10 years and look at down the line is to get these assessment reports done prior to the end of life, so that when funding does come, we have that engineer report and we're basically shovel ready to begin the project. And I think the funders look at that as a big thing. When you can pull an assessment or an engineer report off the shelf and say, okay, we're applying for funding, this is the one we're doing, we're ready to go. Typically you see those projects come first in being successful throughout the funding programs. And that's what we're gonna be looking at, starting to put together and starting to complete some of these assessments. And I understand that, sometimes they're 5,000 here, 15,000 here, 20,000 here. And it is a little bit of money. And that's why we like to have those conversations to see what the township and council are comfortable with, so that we can spread it out over a little bit of time, but also prioritize the needs and make sure that we have these assessments and these reports ready to go for when funding is announced.
Yeah, and this funding program, it's not for new construction. So it has to be a rehabilitation or repair. It can have components of it that are new, but overall it has to be a repair, refurbishment of existing. And it can include design. So although it can't be a standalone design, like you can't submit just for a study or just for the design of something. But if there's a engineering design component, that can all be included as one. Another example that I just wanted to quickly bring up, I know we're going way over our time, so apologize. Patrick was talking about tagging assets when he was giving his capital update. And what that means is we put a barcode on every piece of equipment in your plant. And we have a computerized maintenance program. So all of that's scanned in, and any maintenance work or corrective work that's needed on that asset is entered into the system, and reports are generated. So if we're talking about valves that may be at end of life or not functioning properly, that's evidence, that's documentation that you can show, month after month, because these reports are done monthly. If, the staff are doing a visual inspection and they're noting it and they're kind of flagging it as needing corrective repair or refurbishment, you can use that history as part of your evidence when submitting for for funding projects to show, we've got 6 months of maintenance history showing we're maintaining it, but there's obvious signs of wear on the equipment. So.
Yeah, and we're on the the early stages of starting to tag. There's a lot of assets, so it's going to take a year or so before everything is tagged. We're not going to concentrate on the wastewater facility now because we're going to be switching over. But yeah, it's definitely a long process because there are a ton of assets. And to ensure that all of that is entered and all the information is entered, it does take some time. But once that system is in place, the preventative maintenance comes out, whether it be monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, annually. It comes out and work orders are generated to the operators. The operators complete the maintenance. It's kind of used as a reminder as well. And then once we get that program all set up, then we will start to provide the township and council with the quarterly reports, the monthly reports that come out of that system, all the maintenance reports that get completed.
Patrick, Joanna, that's fantastic. I can see the savings happening for our municipality already. We made a wise choice when going with Aqua.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that added information. That's great info that we needed, and we look forward to getting all those processes in place. Any other questions from council? No? Okay, well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Look forward to speaking with you again.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a great night,
night,
everyone.
Okay, moving on. Minutes of the last regular meeting, June 21st, are at items 3.1 of the agenda. And the closed session minutes from the meeting are items 10.2. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? Seeing none. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the closed session minutes? No, seeing none. Okay, may I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the minutes at items 3.1 and 10.2 of the agenda? Councillor Muir and Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, so the motion is carried. Okay, correspondence. The next matter, 4.1, is a table citing resolutions circulated by other municipalities. Are there any matters any members of council wish to have pulled from the list for report at the next meeting? There were 9. Not seeing any. Okay. Okay, 4.3 is correspondence from the federal government relating to the $6.6 million in recreation infrastructure in Northwestern Ontario. The news release includes the updates that our recreation center will receive with this funding Do members of council have any questions for administration?
Mayor Robinson, did we miss the correspondence from Green Mantle Forest?
Yes, I did. Sorry about that. We'll deal with 4.3 since I've talked about it, and then I'll go back to 4.2. Sorry about that. Councillor McDonald?
I'm just wondering if we could post something maybe on Facebook, like, because a lot of people might not have seen this.
Seen
or
the
be
press
aware.
release?
Yeah. Even just sharing that link maybe on Facebook or something like that.
Sure,
Yeah,
sounds good.
I think we'll discuss that and maybe have a better avenue of attack later on in the meeting. So, but it's definitely a good idea, but we can definitely look at that for sure.
Okay, 4.2, correspondence from Green Mantle Forest, Inc. relating to the Lakehead Forest prescribed burn. The letter includes a map of the prescribed burn area. Do any members of council have questions for administration?
Just, I just also think maybe that's something that should be shared for the community also, like maybe, because it does say that they would contact in advance. Well, it says 48 to 72 hours, but I don't know if that's something also that the public might want to know about.
Sure, because it is in our area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, I want to make sure I don't miss a spot here. Okay, item 4.4 is an update from the Thunder Bay District Social Services Administration Board. Any members of council have questions for administration? Just an update on what DSAB is doing. Okay, 4.5 is correspondence from the Ministry of Natural Resources relating to the aerial herbicide project. The letter includes a map of the area to be sprayed. Do any members of council have any questions for administration? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the correspondence for information? Councillor Park, Councillor Tedesco? All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, reports from boards, or committees, boards, and agencies. 5.1, the minutes from the Environmental Committee meeting. Meeting was in June. Do members of council have questions for administration? Councillor Muir?
So with regard to the report that was submitted, has everybody been sent out to council and administration for review? The report on the beavers?
Sorry, give me that question.
That report, has it been sent out to the Director of Public Works and council?
Yes, it has actually. There was, I know I was not at the last meeting and that question was directed to Blair and he hadn't received it and it was certainly my fault. I sent it to him on my way out that Thursday as I headed on to Terrace Bay. I sent it to him, but when I hit my contact, I hit Blair and it went to Blair at some old Hotmail account that he had. So instead of hitting PW in my contacts, I've updated that. So that is why Blair did not have that copy of that report at that time. So totally that one was on me for sure.
Yeah, because I think the environmental committee is looking to meet. I know we had some issues with the link and the setup last meeting, so we weren't able to have it. But I think the environmental committee is looking for something, a written response, because according to that document that was submitted, it does state that those beavers are on a cycle and they will be returning probably in August or so, circling back. So they're looking for a resolution to see what the determination with the fencing is. So I'm wondering if we could have something available to present that back to council and the committee, from council to the committee.
Yeah, certainly we can look at that. I mean, just as a brief, I mean, both Blair and I have looked into the situation. We've actually walked the break wall ourselves. At this point, we don't see any signs of any new beaver, any new issues. So, I mean, I guess a report onto as to how far we want to go and chase that at this moment. I mean, certainly we can look into that, but what we did see and what we did find at this time is no recent activity or no new activity from beavers at the marina at this time. So that's kind of where we left at that. Again, not saying there won't be, but at this time we don't see anything that is happening at the current time.
I just wanted to say, I think the environmental committee they're just looking for, because we know the beavers are coming back. There's no doubt about it. It's just some kind of, what are we going to do? Just coming up with a proactive plan instead of just waiting for them to come back and then scrambling last minute.
Well, I do know with conversations with Mark and Blair that the recommendations will be followed. Just as of right now, right, we're not going to pursue buying fencing. We're going down all of that, not knowing. So we're just postponing until maybe late summer and then revisiting, see if there's any.
And that is great. And I believe that is what the environmental committee is looking for. Just like, what is the plan moving forward? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think we just didn't want to spend all that money right now, right, when it's not warranted, but that is the process. I do believe we will follow.
Yeah,
it will be quite an undertaking down. It's not. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time to see it and see where we land, because I mean, it's not. There's a lot of trees there, and there's a lot that can be done. I mean, I don't. I know we have studied the fencing, and what we've come up with is that probably is the best option if the problem does reoccur. That would be, you know, probably the cheapest and best option, I would say, for sure. But yeah, we can put something like that into to a report. That's not a problem.
Yeah, and Mark, I guess as well too, there has been some communication, and there are people willing to help, and there are people willing to donate. You know, with regard to the fencing, we're also hoping too that report can be put on the website so people can view it if possible, available to the public.
Or also if we have like summer students that are not, you know, maybe they do have a little bit of free time, those students that we hired, might be a good time to utilize them before their time's up. All stuff we can look at. And
yeah, and I mean, we as administration will take direction from council, right? So if that's the direction council wants us to go in, then the recommendations would come from the committee to council. And if council directs us to go in that manner, that's certainly what we will do.
Okay.
Gord, what is happening with the rest of your environmental? You were talking about recycling, and have you had anything further on that?
Yeah, you know what? Everybody on the committee is very knowledgeable on these subjects, and the discussion of the recycling is coming up, and everybody was to gather up information for the next upcoming meeting, which we're going to schedule shortly after this council meeting now. But yeah, the recycling, I think, it's a strong possibility. There's tons of options, tons of ideas, And that committee, the members do have a ton of great ideas. So, and it is something very special that can be done here in Red Rock.
Will we be able to have meetings that will be in live fashion as opposed to virtual?
Well, hopefully after this, that's what we're waiting for, is after this meeting tonight, we're going to meet face to face.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Tedesco, Councillor Park. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, item 5.2 is the minutes from the Thunder Bay District Social Service Administrative Meeting in May. Do members of council have questions for administration? Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, reports from administration. 6.1 report from the Director of Operations. Do members of council have questions for Mr. Westerman? Councillor McDonald?
I just had a question on the lift station number 1. It seems like that pump has been an issue for quite a while. I feel like the last few reports, it was about this company was going to come in and repair it. But it seems like it's taking a really long time. Is there like even an option to go to a different company?
Oh, I can. It's Agus actually that I approached because they're currently working on a wastewater project.
Mm-hmm.
So I happen to know Carl a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And I did reach out to him again. I know he's busy. I can look at getting help from somebody else if we have to, but it'd just
Like
it'd be handy to take advantage of that as long as he can provide us help, and he's assured me he can. It's just I'm sure they're busy. So
Mark, can you perhaps influence him a bit?
Yeah, we talked about that today in a meeting, Blair and I, where, yeah, I mean, that lift station is definitely, I mean, Blair's being called out to that quite frequently. So again, we'll speak to a bit of that even in a report later, and where we need to be from a management point of view into the projects that we have. And I mean, when you get to something like a lift station in this case, I mean, it does become a top priority, and you'll see a few different top priorities. So yeah, we can definitely have that discussion. Blair and I, we meet daily, a couple of times a day, so certainly we can look into that for sure. That's not a problem.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Westerman?
There's some talk about the 4-signal camera, the closed circuit system. What's happening with that? That also seems to be another one of these things that is kind of failing us. And is it also affecting the camera on Saul Street?
what I've been told from the contractor that came last week was that the DVRs that are paired with the cameras are outdated. Well, actually, I shouldn't say they're outdated. They're not that old, but there is a problem with them. They're designed to use a single signal, and they were sort of dummied down at the time they were installed, I was told, so they could handle the 4-signal camera. You don't get a very good quality picture. They're not functioning. We're losing the signal all the time. So I am getting a quote to update the DVRs. I haven't got the quote yet, but that is one option that we can look at.
Blair, I've got this underlined for myself, and my note is get it fixed with a company that will guarantee long, trouble-free existence of this
Well,
equipment.
we've moved on from the original company was Safety Net Security that originally set the cameras up. They don't service cameras any longer, and they were a hard company to deal with. Honestly, I dealt with them for a little bit. It was hard to get them down here. Like, you run into a lot of times with outfits out of Thunder Bay don't want to travel down here. Anyways, we did switch over to T-Bay Tel recently, like within the last couple of years, got the cameras updated. You know, it's hard sometimes to get these contractors down here. Like I had to get on these people pretty hard before they would send a representative down here. And actually they did go good. They're not charging us for the service call, but sometimes it's a challenge to get the help.
Well, Blair, maybe we just have to set a fire under their asses to get them moving.
Well, like I said, I spoke to them the last time I spoke to them. It was a little bit of a heated argument, and it did help, but it's a challenge. I mean, they're not the only ones that we struggle with getting service from sometimes out of Thunder Bay. So
So the plan is our plan is to update the DVR and get a better quality one, which would give better service to people using the marina and then also Main Street.
Yeah, it's likely the same problem with the South Street camera.
Right.
We're looking at a couple of different options there as well. So there is a couple of different options that we are looking at to get the best quality we can get for obviously, you know, a good price. So we are looking at a few different options there.
Councillor Mayor?
What system are you looking at, and how many frames do you need?
It's the cameras that we have at the marina and on cells offer 4 pictures. So there's 4 signals coming into that DVR. Likely the processor is not high speed enough to handle that many signals. So the camera signal fails quite often. You'll reset the cameras, come back the following day, and the signal's lost. So it's just not working out with these DVRs.
Okay, maybe I can talk to you and Mark after. I know of a place.
Yeah, certainly. If you've got any insight to it, yeah, definitely.
Yep, I can definitely hook you up with my contact for sure that I use.
Excellent.
Let's get it fixed.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Westerman? Okay, seeing none. Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? Councillor Mayor, Councillor Park? All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, report from the fire chief. Any members of council have any questions for administration on Chief Petrie's report?
I noticed that they're holding meetings. How are they holding meetings? Are they doing these meetings virtually? It'd be pretty hard to do as a fire department, wouldn't it, Darkis?
You know what? I don't have any insight into how their meetings are going. I know they are social distancing and only having a certain amount at a time. So they do have clearance from the OFM on how they do their meetings.
I'd like to extend congratulations to Petrie for having a full strength, 26 bodies with the fire department. That's really good. I hope they're not really lost with the kids that are going to be graduating. They've had some really good junior firefighters. And it looks like as if he's nominating 2 junior firefighters, Noah and Braden. Good work. Good work.
For sure, they are doing great work for the township. So just like emergency services, first responders, I know myself for EMS, we are allowed to host meetings, a certain amount of people, same with the fire department. So they are following proper guidelines.
Yeah,
from
and
the ministry.
they're meetings / training sessions, right? So they do have, I mean, they are first responders, right? So they go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are done for the summer. Right, so they don't meet July and August, so I'm sure they'll be happy to be everybody back together in September. So any other questions? Can I have a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report and to appoint Braden Plemmel and Noah Sands to the Red Rock Fire Department as probationary firefighters? Councillor Tedesco, Councillor Muir? All in favor? See all hands rising, so motion is carried. It's great to see some young students wanting to take part in volunteerism for the township.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, item 6.3 in the report from the community community development officer. Do members of council have questions for Ms. Davis? Oh, Councillor Muir, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just following up on some of the timelines that they had, estimates, for example, of when possible shovels in the ground for that the Frost, Stadler, Brompton, and Newton. Is there any estimate of a timeline for construction? Would it be next year at this time?
No, so what we're looking at is the relining of Newton, Frost, and Stadler. The water main relining would be happening this fall. So September, yeah. And then the full excavation of Brompton Road would be happening next season, next construction season. So the exact timelines of when that's going to happen, we're waiting for the detailed design report from JML, which I should be receiving this week for that. And so it goes through a 50% drawing review stage and then 90%. So once we get that detailed report, it gives us more of a precise breakdown of what the costs are going to be and see, okay, what's absolutely necessary, where can we pull back on a couple things just to make sure that we do remain like within budget. Also keeping in mind that we've got the ground open, we might as well, if a fire hydrant needs to be replaced, we might as well do it while the ground is open, kind of thing. So we'll be taking a look into that in more detail once we get those detailed design reports from them. And then they will be tendering out the relining process in the month of August, with hoping to start that process in September.
Okay, so if we've got the ground open, correct me if I'm wrong, with as far as the funding goes, you're not going to be able to at this point say, the funding Joanna was just speaking of, we're not going to be able to tie into that for things extras, are we?
So this is the same. So the water infrastructure project was essentially the first intake of that same grant process. What was just released on July 13th is the second intake for that program. So that would then be a completely different project altogether. We were lucky because drinking water was the main priority for our Brompton project. We're able to do the storm and the sewer at the same time because we've kept that priority, and we're also able to get Brompton repaved because you're excavating, you can get it repaved. So that's where all of those came together at the same time. With Newton, Frost, and Stadler, because they just cut out access points, that section is not going to be completely repaved. Because they go down, dig down, access the water main, cut it open, reline it, seal everything back up.
Okay, so that'll probably take place at the end of the street. So with that other infrastructure grant, we can look at a water park, I guess, then, right? No?
Drinking water. Drinking water, Gord.
All right, well, the kids will drink it when they're in there. You can guarantee that, but okay.
A couple of other things. One is keep in mind that when that paving project apparently is going to be a really fantastic end of town when they're finished, because they're going to recurb and do the paving. but there is opportunities for people in the neighborhood to request paving to be done by the paving company. So we may want to post some kind of information to these people that it might be an option for them. That should make people really happy, as well as the nice street that Darkeys is going to have.
So as part of this whole process, there will be what they call a community consultation period. So a notification goes out to the public for a period of about 45 days, where members of the public have an opportunity to provide feedback, and then notices will go out to all of those residents impacted by the construction project to basically put in a provision with this, the tender for with the constructors, the construction companies, where the residents can get curb and driveways done. So if your driveway is already paved, you can get the end that's dug up paved or the whole thing. If your driveway is lockstone, the lockstone gets replaced. So it's an as-is kind of process.
Good.
Councillor Muir?
So at this time as well too, when they've got the ground ripped up, are they going to be giving options to the homeowners to dig right up to the footings and run new water mains for them to do SERS if they choose so at their cost?
There are sections of the water main that are a 1/4 inch instead of 3/4 inch along Brompton. That's also a provision that would be at the cost of the homeowner if they want to upgrade their lines from their house to the service access point where the work is being completed. So all of those additional things would be at the cost of the homeowner should they wish to upgrade at that time.
Yeah, that's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
That's a perfect time.
Ashley, will the municipality be able to take advantage of the water? What the heck was it that Joanna was talking about? There was a program, a new funding for water projects. Will the municipality be able to access those that funding for this? Because it does involve water. For the Brompton and all the other water services that will be done.
Yes, so we've already accessed that funding. So we've received almost $2 million from the water project from that program. So that first intake was money we received from it's called the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program Green Stream for drinking water. We've been approved, and that's what this Brompton, Frost, Stadler, Newton project is being completed under. So we wouldn't be able to apply again to add more money to an existing project. So these have to be completely new projects that are enhancing existing infrastructure. So one thing that may be considered is drinking water pumps, that kind of thing. I don't know enough about the lift station or the pump issues there, but it's those type of drinking water issues. But it's to keep in mind, they do have timelines and looking at the other projects that the municipality has going on.
What did you say, drinking water pumps?
Or like the any drinking water infrastructure.
Oh, okay. Oh, funds. I thought you said pumps. I saw.
It's funds for anything directly related to infrastructure, like drinking water infrastructure.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Davis? Is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Park, Councillor Muir? All in favor? Cam's a little bit delayed, so I'll wait to see his hand go up.
Me?
Okay, all hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, item 6.4 is a report from on administrative activity. Do members of council have any questions for Mr. Figlamini? We've had a chance to review his report. Yep, seeing no questions. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Muir, Councillor Tedesco. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, item 6.5 is for information purposes. It relates to the submission to the province from the Police Services Board composition for the Nipigon OPP detachment. Do members of council have questions of administration? Rosalie gave a good detailed report on it. Seeing none, okay, do I have a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor McDonald, Councillor Perk. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. 6.6 is for information purposes. It relates to a revised bylaw for procedure of council and council committee meetings. Do members of council have any questions of administration? Councillor Muir?
Yeah, so on the new bylaw, is there going to be a full list of all the committees that are, so we know how many committees are in Red Rock? Who falls under this?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, Rosalie's putting this together while we're working on it together. But yeah, we can have we can summarize that list of all committees for sure, all committees of council, right? Because what this will do is create a procedural bylaw for all meetings of council, meetings of committee. You know, as I was saying earlier, when as I was referring to, even in the Beaver situation, how, you know, the committee should then bring to council and then we'll bring it on, right? So that's kind of usually how the format goes. Those committees will be committees of council. They would then, you know, in this case, bring that, you know, if they wanted that recommendation, it would then come to the council table, be passed by resolution to management to implement. So yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. I'll talk to Rosalie in the morning. So just kind of a list and summary of all committees.
I'd like to consider if the municipality would consider, I should say, the concept of town hall meetings again. It's been quite a while since there's been any. They haven't erupted into mayhem as was predicted by some. And I think it's very useful for the municipality, people in the municipality, to be able to interact and engage in decisions for our community.
Yeah, I think as we come out of COVID, they're never a bad idea, right? As you know, we can certainly look at that. That's not a problem.
Yep.
Obviously, with an agenda and that, because sometimes they can get you know, if you don't follow that straight agenda. But no, I think they're a good idea and something we can look at as we move along through the restrictions of COVID and hopefully back into what we used to call a normal world. So no, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Tedesco, Councillor Park. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, 6.7 is for information purposes. It relates to the opening of services within the provincial government's Phase 3 opening plan. Do members of council have questions of administration?
Well, we would need a direction from council on this. Obviously, our recommendation is to reopen the fitness center weight room effective tomorrow. Definitely with all COVID restrictions and following all policy, as well as, and we did group these together, but we could we could certainly separate them if that was council's desire and they chose one versus the other. But in here was also the resumption of in-person council as well as committee meetings. Sorry. So ideally, if council was open to our plan following this Ontario's roadmap to reopen, we could certainly implement this and together as one resolution and move on that, if that was the plan. So again, the weight room tomorrow, we should have, well, we will have it ready to go. It's actually just a matter of opening the door. We've had it cleaned this week and ready to go. So they were working, the girls today were working on a list of current members and then got interrupted by about a 5-hour webinar with Munisoft. So that kind of slowed things down. It seems to happen a lot, right? But yeah, I think it's definitely where we're moving to in Ontario with vaccination rates and infection rates. So yeah, that's our recommendation to council at this time on those two items.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? Councillor Park, Councillor Muir. All in favor? Oh, I think Cam is frozen again. Okay, so seeing Councillor Muir, Councillor McDonald, Councillor Park, and Mayor Robinson, all in favor. Technical issues with Councillor Tedesco right now. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to return to in-person council and committee meetings and further to open the fitness room on July 20th, 2021? Councillor McDonald, Councillor Muir. All in favor?
Hello.
Yep, we see you, Cam.
I had asked a question and everything froze.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you did freeze.
Mark, I was asking if the rest of the rec center would be opened, or will it be the restaurant and the health center?
Yeah, we did have a brief discussion on that today, and at this point today, we decided we would visit that as we go, because we were talking about like the gym and those kind of and access to that. So it right now the weight room and the restaurant is already open, and then we can see where we go from there. Obviously you get into some staffing issues around there right now as well in the summer months. So right now we discussed that today on request, because apparently there could be a request for such events like pickleball and something like that, and we thought at the administrative level we would just make that decision at that time. So at this time right now it is the weight room and the restaurant.
Good.
And again, we can take those other requests if we get them, and we can make a decision on that as we move along. We were kind of summarizing even into the bowling and just not really the season right now. And if we did deem there was some requests, then we would certainly make decisions or come to council on that. So, but yeah, that's kind of where we stood right now.
Thank you.
It would also deem the weight room only, so the showers and bathrooms were not part of the opening as well at this time.
Okay.
Under current policy, I guess that's kind of where we went last time, and with some staffing issues. And again, we can work on that, but we figured let's get hopefully act quick and get the gym open, because we have been fielding quite a bit of calls. Sorry, the weight room, I call it the gym, but the weight room, because we have been fielding those calls. So if we can get that done as early as tomorrow, I think that's a good start.
Would we assume that council meetings would be happening in the interpretive center, or do you have any other site in mind?
No, that was the plan, right at the interpretive center.
And typically we don't open the recreation center in the summertime, so.
Right.
We're not about to revisit that right now when we know about staffing and stuff, so. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the motion again. A mover and seconder for motion to return to in-person council and committee meetings and further to open the fitness room, July 20th, 2021. So Councillor Muir, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. I'll have a lot of happy people who want to access the fitness room, that's for sure. Okay, item 6.8 is for information purposes. It relates to the details regarding the denial of phase 2 natural gas expansion program funding requested by council at the previous council meeting. Do members of council have questions of administration? Councillor Tedesco.
Mark, what's the process for going to, what is it, stage 3? We were kicked out of stage 2. How do we go to stage 3? Because I really think that we have an obligation to all the people along the Highway 628 to ensure that they get gas supplies and even the outlying areas.
Yeah, well, I'll give a little summary on exactly what this was and what happened. So this was a funding application put forth by Enbridge Gas and was supported by the municipality of Red Rock. So basically what we were was a letter of support for the project, which is why we were informed of it and really struggled internally with some of the change going on as to what we were even denied for. So I did reach out to the Ministry of Energy and had a detailed explanation of what it was. So this program, to answer your question, this program is now closed. There is no funding beyond this phase. This was rejected, and at this point is something that again, the structure of the program did not allow a municipality to apply for this funding. It only allowed a municipality to support an application by a utility company, right? So at this point, this funding stream is closed. So to get past any, there is no phase 3 to it. So it's, but I wanted to get an answer to council because it was something that was left hanging at the last meeting when I was unavailable. So that is in a nutshell what that was, and it is a closed funding stream now.
Wait, in regards to Cam's comment, we have tried for years, and we have approached residents on the highway, and they were given, the thing is they have to pay for the service line to their residents, and the cost is too much. So there has not been funding stream for us to apply to assist them with bringing the gas line to their residents, right? So they don't want to pay $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to bring a gas line when they already have, and they've been living with whatever resources they have, right? Electric, oil, you know, all of that, propane. So obviously we'll always look for some type of funding to assist them to bring gas lines to their residents, but that's not what this report was about. But we have looked into it quite a few times for the residents on Highway 628. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, bylaws. 7.1, the Deming bylaw for lots 22 to 24, Plan M183. This is a bylaw to deem certain lots in subdivision plan M183 not to be lots on a registered plan of subdivision for the purpose of subsection 50.3 of the Planning Act. Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the bylaw? Councillor Muir. Councillor Park. All in favor?
Can we ask some questions on this? Before we go to a vote?
Sure, I was just waiting for someone to put their hand up, that's all.
Okay. What lots, what subdivision, what's being talked about here? These are just numbers. Can we put a geography to these numbers?
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was discussed at last meeting, I believe. Rosalie's unavailable this evening. So, I mean, if it was one of those things that council wasn't comfortable on, we could always defer, I guess, if we had to. But unfortunately, I don't have a great summary. We didn't connect today on this particular item until late in the day, and she had something that she had to attend to, and was a bit of an unexpected event that she had that she's unavailable to provide on this report. So,
Councillor Mayor?
This was the bylaw she spoke on, where if you're severing a lot, that's the one that cleans that language up, because Councillor Tedesco, if you remember, there was issues when they were going to sell a piece of a lot, and some people could have had their foundation on the side of the lot. It got messy, so this just cleaned it up. That's what this bylaw was for.
Well, I'm not comfortable to go ahead with this until we know who these lots are. This might be a lot on my property. These are numbers, PIN numbers.
Okay, if council is not in favor of passing this, then we can defer it. But I will call again for a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the bylaw.
Did we receive in our last meeting minutes, was there sketches of the property? I think there wasn't there?
Nope.
We got the breakdown and the explanation.
I knew what the concept was, and that there was possibly some lots somewhere down the highway, but I'm not sure that that's the same thing we're talking about here. There's 3 lots involved here. She was talking about 2 down Highway 628. So do we know what we're talking about if we vote on it? Or are we
Okay.
just voting? Sorry.
No, that's council's not in favor, so we'll defer it to next meeting and get a better explanation before we pass the bylaw. Okay, there's no new business to review at this meeting. Unfinished business. Council is asked to have marina operations placed on future agenda. As a reminder, Ontario has moved into phase 3 of the reopening plan as of July 16th. Do members of council have questions of administration? Councillor Mayor?
I guess my question with regard to opening of the marina is what is administration's plan to get some revenue in the door if that building's opened up? How can we make money off of that facility? What are we selling? What service are we providing? What are we doing with it?
well, the plan right now is to utilize the summer student for, like I said, for the Monday to Friday hours. We do have plans at that point then of opening the showers, laundry, bathrooms, those facilities. We do have plans to bring to have the exhibit somewhat operational while those hours are on, and then we will put, like I said, we'll have her working out of there, just as revenue streams. I don't know, how much. We'll put a plan together for that. We're just looking for kind of the opening, so that we can utilize again that building and have a presence there, as well as with our funded summer student at that point. So I don't see it as being, you're probably right on as a huge revenue source, but I think it's a huge asset to the community and to the marina, as well as really low cost to the municipality for having a fully funded summer student operating the facility at this time.
Councillor McDonald?
Just wondering about the restaurant part or the kitchen part. Like, how long do we usually keep that building open for? Is that like October or?
No, usually it actually closes beginning of September.
Oh,
Right,
okay,
because
so
it's usually run with some summer students and that, but the kiosk stays open till the end of September. So really what we're doing is opening it up for the month.
okay, it's just
Right.
pretty much 1 month. So
Right.
it wouldn't be worth advertising that space for rent or anything this year.
No, like the mayor said, at this time, it was more of a utilization of the building, having a presence at the marina and utilizing, like I said, the fully funded summer student and getting her down there. So we were looking at that time frame, you know, using her schedule. We could also, our plan was to have the showers, bathrooms, and laundry facilities open throughout, and she could man the building for the Monday to Friday for those regular business hours, and then the kiosk students could hopefully pick up just on that small base, just leaving those facilities open and being able to open and close. So again, it's what we call you know, it is somewhat of a soft opening. It's a start, and that was kind of our best thoughts for at least how we could get. We do get a lot of calls. There's a lot of calls on when are you opening the marina and this and that. You know, so yeah, we just thought, you know, as we're coming out of COVID, and it's a good start.
Councillor Park?
Can we utilize the rental of the room? Like that's a beautiful space. Couldn't we take advantage of that? That potentially could be some revenue. We should probably potentially look at removing the exhibit and renting it out for weddings. Like, it's got money.
I think there's numerous options there as we move along, for sure. There's definitely it's a huge asset to the community along with the marina. It also becomes it's another one of those buildings or projects that get built that you then as a municipality have to manage and pay for. But again, it's I think it's definitely, even from a perspective of the summer student, having her in there, I think is a lot more beneficial than having her kind of just hanging around the office. And so, but sure, we could look at a lot of different revenue streams for that building. I'm not saying open it for a month is going to create astronomical amounts of revenue right now, but we see it as a positive start, something that at least at least we're coming out of COVID and we're getting somewhere with the facility, and that was kind of our thinking there.
I don't think it would hurt us to revisit, you know, what we want to see and get out of the Marina Center, right? So, I mean, it's just maybe refocus and try to promote it in a different way and utilize it a little bit better all year round, actually, not just if that's an option for us. Councillor Muir?
Yeah, I fully agree. We've got that asset sitting there that hasn't really been fully utilized at this point. I think it could be something special if we just really sit down. And again, too, you know what, town hall, that's a good topic of conversation for the agenda to see what everybody wants. A building like that can bring a ton of revenue into this facility, into this township, if we do it properly. And everybody, I mean, there is so much potential down there. Live music, chip stands, go in there. Here's this, here's that, paddleboat rentals, everything. We've got the perfect spot. We got to really start utilizing and marketing this. We got to start marketing this town.
Mark, I think it's a great idea to have the services of the laundry, especially for our boaters that will be down there. But I presume we're going to also have campers too that would probably be able to access and utilize that service. That would be a wonderful thing, a wonderful service available. Maybe not a great money maker, but a service that we can crow about.
Yeah, and as I think we're all saying is we do realize it's an asset. And I agree. I think we have to find a way to better utilize that facility and advertise it. And there's some great ideas thrown around there. So definitely, I agree. It's a beautiful building.
Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the report? Councillor Park, Councillor Tedesco. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to reopen the Marina Center as discussed? Oh, sorry. I forgot. I got to go back. Sorry. All in favor? Okay, all hands rising. So motion is carried to receive the report. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to reopen the Marina Center as discussed? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. Okay, all in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. Okay, next on the agenda is closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councillor Tedesco, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, so motion is carried. We will now go to closed session. So we'll wait a couple of minutes, see if Cam gets on, and if not, then we'll proceed.
Oh, it's supper time.
Ashley, do you see him trying to log in? No? Okay.
No, you guys popped in automatically.
Okay, so we'll continue on. Okay, next item is bylaw to confirm proceedings of council. Do members of council have any questions for administration? Okay, seeing none, can I please have a mover and seconder for a motion to pass the bylaw? Councillor Muir, Councillor Park. All in favor? Councillor McDonald, Councillor Park, Councillor Muir, and Mayor Robinson. All in favor. Absent is Councillor Tedesco due to technical difficulties. Okay, at time being 10:14, and there's no further business to attend to. As chair, I'm pleased to declare the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for those who had stayed on. It was a long meeting tonight. So everyone enjoy your summer, stay safe, stay hydrated. Drink lots of water.
Thank you. Take care,
Good
guys.
night, everyone.
Night.
Good night, everyone.